And I'm actually talking about Tim Walz this time, which is, it goes both ways. We're in the middle of a national identity crisis. I've said that since day one. We need a commander-in-chief who's going to lead us back to who we are. Faith in God, patriotism, hard work, family. These things have disappeared only to be replaced by these new religions of wokeism or transgenderism or climatism or COVIDism. Depression, anxiety, fentanyl, suicide, you name it. We are hungry for what it means to be an American. What does it mean to be a citizen of this nation in the year 2024? It means we believe in the ideals of 1776. It means we believe in merit, that the best person gets the job regardless of their skin color, that you get ahead in the United States, not on the color of your skin, but on the content of your character and your contributions. That's why we're done with the DEI regimes, the quota regimes. That's what Donald Trump's bringing to the White House. It means we believe in the rule of law. And I say this like many of you in the audience. I say this as the kid of legal immigrants to this country. That means your first act of entering this country cannot break the law. And that is why if we've had the largest influx of illegal aliens into this country in American history, we will have the largest mass deportation in American history. That is not racist. That is not xenophobic. That is what it means to stand for the rule of law in the United States of America. It means the people we elect to run the government ought to be the ones who actually run the government, not the shadow government of the deep state and three-letter agencies that's running the show today. So you want to talk about mass deportations? Yeah, we'll talk about the millions of illegals out of this country. But the second mass deportation we really need is millions of unelected federal bureaucrats out of the D.C. bureaucracy. That is how you save a country. These aren't black ideas or white ideas. They're American ideals that we fought a revolution to secure in this country. We are in a war to revive them. And right now, more than ever, we need the commander-in-chief who will lead us to victory in that war. And that man is your 45th and 47th president of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump, who we are sending back to the White House. If you want to seal the border, vote Trump. If you want to restore law and order in this country, vote Trump. If you want to grow the economy in this country, vote Trump. If you want to keep us out of World War III in this country, vote Trump. If you want to revive national pride in this country, vote Trump. If you want to revive our national identity in America, vote Trump. And if you want to make America great again, vote Trump. This man will be the one who actually unites our country. We don't have to be this nation in decline that we've become. We're not at the end of the ancient Roman Empire. We don't have to be. We still can be a nation in our ascent, but we're going to have to wake up and make it so. It's not happening automatically. We're counting on you to do it. Nevada, get out there. I got 3 words for you. Vote, vote, vote. Give it to you real straight. I don't like early voting. I don't. I'm not a fan of it. I think in this country, we need single-day voting on Election Day as a national holiday with paper ballots, government-issued ID to match the voter file, and English as the only language that appears on a ballot. That's what I think we need in this country. All right? But in order to get there, we got to actually win the election. You have to be able to win by the rules we have in order to change them to what they should be. So this one time, I don't love it, but this one time, do what we need to do to win. Vote early, play by the same rules as the other side. We play to win this time. We're not messing around. We're not going to be victims. We are going to be victorious. That's what our founding fathers did. That's what we're about to do in 2024. You see, 2024 is our 1776. I'll tell you a story. It's a story about the Democrat-led media that called him a traitor. They called him a dictator. They said that he would be an embarrassment on the world stage until a man took a gun and put a bullet in his body. And I'm actually talking about Abraham Lincoln. It's actually true. The first Republican president, it was the Democrat-led media that said those things about him 160 years ago, and yet here we are now. I truly believe Donald Trump is the George Washington of our moment. It is our 1776 in this country. They shot at him while he was crossing the Delaware, too. Didn't work with George Washington just like it didn't for Donald Trump. But this is our last chance as a country, especially my generation. I'm 37 years old. I was the youngest, I'm 39 now. I was 37 when I ran for U.S. president as the youngest person ever to run for president as a Republican. And I'll tell you what's going on with our generation, right? We're lost. We're hungry for a cause. We're hungry for purpose and meaning and identity at a time in our history where we've lost the things that used to ground us. All right, so the left will feed us their poison of race, gender, sexuality, and climate. And on November 6th, when we wake up to run to our own vision. Individual, family, nation, and God beats race, gender, sexuality, and climate if we have the courage to stand for our own vision. We're not just running from something, we are running to something. So this year when we deliver, and I'm gonna use the L word, deliver a landslide, I hope, God willing, on November 5th. Then we wake up on November 6th to a new country. November 5th is not the destination, it is the start line. It is the start line for the revival of our country. If we don't get this before my kids are in high school, my older son's 4 years old. I was with him this morning before being with President Trump in Phoenix, and then we came here. I'm gonna be back with him tonight. If he's in high school before we get this right, I don't think we have a country left. That's the time horizon we're working with. But this is our chance to do it. Donald Trump's gonna do his part, I promise you that. Every one of the other people on the stage, they're gonna do their part. But I am now asking you to do yours, to make a sacrifice for our country in our hour of need, just like our founding fathers did. There were 56 men who signed the Declaration of Independence. I don't know what happened to them, we don't often ask. 12 of them had their homes ransacked and burned to the ground by the British. 5 of them were captured by the British and tortured until their deaths. 9 of them died in the American Revolution. 3 more of them had their own kids die in the American Revolution. They didn't do it for them. They did it for us so we could be here 250 years later, enjoying the blessings of liberty in the greatest nation known to the history of mankind. And I refuse to be the generation that squanders it. We've been taught to celebrate our diversity and our differences for so long that we forgot all of the ways we are the same as Americans, bound by that common set of ideals. It is up to us to revive them. So 2024 is our 1776. We're gonna fight for it. So we will look our kids in the eye and mean it when we tell them, you get ahead in the United States of America with your own hard work, your own commitment, your own dedication. And that, you know what, you are free to speak your mind at every step of the way. That is the American dream. That is what we are running to. That is what won us the American Revolution. That is what reunited us after the Civil War and World War I and World War II and the Cold War. That is what still gives hope to the free world. And if we can revive that dream over group identity and victimhood and grievance, then nobody in the world, not a nation, not a corporation, not a virus, not China, and certainly not Kamala Harris or Tim Walz is going to defeat us. That is what American exceptionalism is all about, and that is what we will revive to save this great nation. Thank you all and your families. May God bless you and our United States of America. Do not stop fighting, guys. Let's get this done. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, Marco Rubio.
Thank you. That guy's electric, Vivek, isn't he electric? That guy's awesome, huh? He's great. All right, it's great to be here in Nevada. Great to be back. Did you guys, how many of you are from Nevada? Most of you, right? Notice how I said Nevada, not Nevada. I lived here. I grew up here. When I was 7 years old, we moved here. People said, how'd you guys move all the way over there? I said, simple. They had jobs for people like my parents. And we lived here. There was not, when I lived here, talking about like 1980 through 1985, it was not the kid-friendliest place in America. There wasn't that much to do, to be honest. I mean, there was an ice skating rink in Henderson. When nobody even knew where Henderson was, it was where the ice skating rink was. And I've just seen this place grow so dynamically. And now I got to tell you guys, you're at the center and at the heart of this election. You really are. I truly believe that how this state goes is how this election is going to go. And Vivek mentioned a moment ago, we were just with President Trump in Arizona, and Arizona had a message. They're like, they're going to do their part. Ask Nevada if they're going to do their part to save our country and make it great again. So they want to know if you're going to do your part. And every time that I come here, I'm reminded of my childhood, and I think that's important because I think about my parents for a moment. My parents were immigrants from Cuba. There's Cubans here? All right, be careful with the Cubans. Be careful with the Cubans. My parents were immigrants. They didn't really go to a lot of school in their own country. My dad was nothing more than, he was a bartender at Sam's Town. And I'm going to tell you now, I'm going to start dating myself. My mom was a maid at the Imperial Palace. That's back when they used to have this thing. That was our family outing. We used to go see this thing called Legends in Concert, which was, some old timers remember Legends in Concert. It was like a fake Elvis, and it was like either one week it was the fat Elvis, the other week it was the skinny Elvis. Marilyn Monroe, whatever. My point is, that's the jobs they had. And you know what my parents were able to do with those jobs? A bartender and a maid? They owned a home. We didn't get to go to a lot. I mean, we didn't have everything we wanted. We had everything we needed. And the most important thing my parents were able to achieve is they were able to leave all 4 of their children better off than themselves. If there weren't any taxes on tips, the way Donald Trump is going to do, maybe we would have had more than what we wanted. But anyway, my parents achieved the American dream. They were never rich. They were never famous. They never owned more than one home. In fact, we never owned more than one car, primarily because my mom didn't like to drive. So, but they never owned more than one car. But they lived the American dream. They didn't leave us any money. They left us something even more important, and that is the chance to be anything we wanted to be. And that's possible because I was born a citizen of the greatest nation in the history of all mankind. And it's important to remember that. It's important to say that. You never hear that on the other side. Not enough. When the other side talks about the greatness of America, it always comes with an asterisk. Yeah, we're the greatest country in the world, but, and they'll fill in something we don't do right or something we did wrong 200 years ago or 150 years ago. Guys, I've never claimed that America's history is perfect, by the way. I've only claimed that our history is better than anybody else's history by far. We are a nation of progress and of opportunity, a nation that has changed the world and inspired the people of the world. But it's in trouble. You know it's in trouble. We know it's in trouble. It is a nation whose borders are not secure. We're not secure. This is not immigration. What's happening on our border, that's not immigration. That is mass migration. That is a total breakdown and total chaos, and it's by design. And that needs to stop. That is the choice in this election between a president, Donald J. Trump, who gave us the most secure border in modern history, and Kamala Harris, who as Vice President of the United States was the border czar and has allowed this country to be overrun by millions and millions of people from all over the world. My parents were able to achieve the American dream like so many of you, because when I grew up, bacon didn't cost $150 or whatever the crazy price is now. And that's the choice in this election between a man when he was president We had an economy where prices were stable, salaries were going up, and people could afford to have a little bit of money left over at the end of the month against Kamala Harris, who has presided over runaway inflation, an unaffordable an unaffordable economy, a stale and stagnant job market. No matter what they tell you, your paychecks are not keeping pace with prices. They've destroyed our economy and set us back. It's a choice. It's a choice between a president who had us on the road and had us right there at the precipice of complete and total energy independence. We don't have to worry about any other country in the world. We can fuel our economy because God has blessed us with those resources, and we were doing that under Donald Trump. And a vice president who wants to keep us from using our natural resources and wants to force everyone to have to drive an electric car. And I like the guy who makes a lot of the electric cars, by the way. I'm not anti-electric car. I'm not anti-electric car. I've always called them golf carts, but I'm not against anti-electric car. I'm not banning them. But you can't run a modern economy on electric cars and solar panels. You just can't. You can't do it. And we have an opportunity to generate our own energy, and it's clean and it's American. That's the choice. So what do you do? What do you do if you know you can't run on your record? And Kamala Harris can't run on a record. She was asked the other day, what would you do different than Joe Biden? Well, I can't think of anything. And this was on The View, so it was like in the morning, 8 people were watching, and so she wasn't tired. And she couldn't think of a single thing she would have done different. That tells you everything you need to know. We can't afford another. If we have another 4 years like the last 4 years, you won't recognize your country. You won't. A President Biden-Harris administration that had us humiliated in Afghanistan, absolutely humiliated. In fact, it's not a coincidence that after Afghanistan happened, Ukraine happened, October 7th happened, all the stuff China's doing against the Philippines happened, and maybe Taiwan soon enough happened, because they said, this guy's weak, Joe Biden, and America's weak because he's weak, and we can get away with it. That wasn't happening under Donald Trump. Under Donald Trump, the head of the number one terrorist in the world that worked for Iran, Soleimani, he died. ISIS wiped out. No wars were started. Ukraine wasn't invaded. Israel wasn't invaded. The world was safe. And by the way, that guy in North Korea, he stopped launching missiles. That's the strength we need in our country again. That's what this election is about. Saving our country, restoring our country, so your children, your grandchildren can inherit what we inherited, the greatest country in the history of the world. This election is about saving America, and there's only one way to save America. We have to win in Nevada. We have to win that Senate seat with Sam Brown. You got to come out and vote for him. He needs your support as well. And you need to do a huge service to your country. You need to make sure that everyone you know turns out and votes, so that in about, 12 days now, less than 12 days, we will once again have a president, Donald J. Trump, running this country, saving this country, and making it what it belongs, a great country. Thank you, and God bless. Thank you.
Darkness falls across the land. The midnight hour is close at hand. Creatures crawl in search of blood to terrorize your neighborhood. And whosoever shall be found without the soul for getting down must stand and face the hounds of hell and rot inside a corpse's shell. The foul The stench is in the air, the funk of 40,000 years, and grisly goons from every tomb are closing in to seal your doom. And though you fight to stay alive, your body starts to shiver, for no mortal can resist the evil of the foreigner.
Quando sono sola sogno all'orizzonte vagano le parole. Se lo so che non c'è luce in una stanza quando manca il sole. Se non ci sei tu con me su le finestre mostra tutto il mio cuore che è acceso. Chiudi dentro me la luce che hai incontrato per strada. Time to say goodbye. Paesi che non ho mai veduto nessuno con te. Adesso si rivedrò con te, partirò. Sull'ani per mari che io lo so, non esistono più. It's time to say goodbye.
Quando sei lontana sogno all'orizzonte e manca le parole. Io sì lo so che sei con me. Tu mia luna, tu sei qui con me. Io solo e tu sei qui con me, con me, con me, con me. Time to say goodbye. Paesi che non ho mai veduto e vissuto con te. Adesso si vivrò con te, partirò. Su navi per mari che io lo so, non esistono più. Con te io vivrò, con te partirò. Su navi per mari che io lo so, non esistono più. Con te io vivrò, con te partirò.
Next, we have Gina Carano.
This is going to be a much different speech than all the ones you've seen. Hi, Las Vegas. It's nice to see you again. Hi. You know, a lot of celebrities say, I'm leaving the country if Donald Trump is elected. I will not be leaving the country if someone I don't like is installed in power. I plan on staying here and fighting it out. That's what patriots do. That's what the people who truly love Americans do. And those celebrities who threaten to leave will leave anyway, once they've installed a government that seeks to destroy us. 70 years ago, both my grandfathers made their path and built incredible companies, starting from the ground up. One right here in Las Vegas and one in Reno, Nevada. I have two of the best examples of what a truly great leader is, and how important it is. My Papa Jack was quoted saying, "Lead men by going the extra mile yourself." I'm an actress who got my start professional fighting right here in your mixed martial arts gyms in Las Vegas. Thank you. I'd rather be being punched in the face than giving a speech right now. But I'm doing this for America. I'm doing this because this election is so important. It's so valuable. I didn't actually start voting until I was 2020. And I realized that, my gosh, there is such a prejudice here. I was voting for who I thought was the best candidate, and that was Donald Trump. And that still is Donald Trump. I was targeted, discriminated against, shamed and fired from one of the most powerful entertainment companies in the world. They fired me at the height of my career, and I went out to, I know, Disney. They deserve that. Thank you. Thank you. You guys have been paying attention to my story. I appreciate that. I mean, they've gone out of the way to make an example out of me, but I think by the grace of God, He's helping me make an example out of them. I'm currently suing Disney with Elon Musk's and X's backing. I have never even spoken to Mr. Musk, but this kindness he has done me and many others, I feel is something you only see in the movies. I am so grateful to him and the X platform. Without X, we truly would not know the truth of what is happening around the world and would have to rely on the corrupt media. The corrupt media, Donald Trump bent over his knee and broke their back, exposing them for who they truly work for. Worldwide, they are targeting Elon Musk and X to silence and control him over freedom of speech. That's something we pay our American governments to do. Why would a government who is busy manipulating the system and filling their pockets ever respond to the people's voice, which the people's voice has become the Republican Party? The Democrats have suffered no accountability. I will tell you my personal belief: a vote for Kamala Harris is no other than a vote for a shadow government and greedy corporations who will walk over our dead bodies and turn around and use those bodies to keep themselves in power. Just look at the 325,000 children who have gone missing. Maybe we should be keeping that body count on the news. I want to tell you, Las Vegas and Nevada, I respect you so much because I lived here. I bartended at the Wynn. I know that you're a 24-hour city. The people don't know when they're not from Nevada. They think, oh, are there schools there? And there's families here. There's patriotic families here who are the best at what they do. They're the best chefs. They're the best salespeople. They're the best real estate people. And they're the best performers. Nevada, you're going to show up, and you already have showed up, but we need to continue that on. Because we all saw, and we can all see how it can happen on election night. We need to make sure that we put the pressure on, we do not let up, and we make this an overwhelming majority vote for Donald Trump. I'd like to just share a couple quotes that I think are pretty, I don't know, things that I like. I'm skipping a couple pages here because I know that I think Trump's ready to come on. There's this quote that I think is very appropriate for what a lot of us in the room stand for. And I think it's from the Mr. Robot series. So let me read it for you. Some people are just born to fight, I think. It's not that they're born brave. It's not that they're born strong. It's just that the universe has decided that this one will have grit and fire and steel in their blood. And it'll be tested, this cosmic metal of theirs. They'll face trial after trial, be broken and damaged in countless ways, but this one was born to fight. Maybe it's not the life they would have chosen. Maybe they'd love to lay down their arms, but they were born to fight. It's what they know. It's what they do best. It's all they can do. I want to encourage you to never give up. Cast your vote. This is our first and most important step towards saving America. It is the healthiest act. It is the right thing to do, so we do not look back and say we didn't go through the motions of the best possible outcome. Don't get cocky. We've seen how easily votes can change in the middle of election night. Make this election overwhelmingly obvious. I truly hope this is the start of a great awakening and not a world where the puppeteers say, by 2030, you will own nothing and be happy. I'll leave you with a Bible verse that is much easier said than done, but I pray for the strength for us and for me to uphold it. Then I heard the voice of the Lord saying, "Whom shall I send, and who will go for us?" And I said, "Here am I. Send me."
Let's hear it for Charlie Kerr.
How we doing, Nevada? We are just 12 days away, everybody, from taking back this country, and it starts in Las Vegas, everybody. We are living through something historic right now. Tonight, you're about to hear from someone who ran for the presidency as a Democrat, the former co-chair of the DNC, Tulsi Gabbard. Can we give it up for Tulsi Gabbard? Does she not do a great job? And before I hand it off to her, I just want to say, every single day here in Nevada is going to count. When you guys vote and vote early, you are sending a message to the rest of the country. Do you guys see these early voting numbers out of Clark County? The Democrats don't know what's going on. By the way, who's voted already? Raise your hand if you voted already. But guess what? Your job's not over. Now go find 5 more people in the 12 days remaining and bring them to the polls. Go find 10 more people and bring them to the polls. We outnumber them. Our movement is bigger than ever. And it is an honor to host this tonight and to celebrate a woman that I believe is the best of America. She has served this country. She is a defector from the Democrat parties. I like to say, they get Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger, we get Bobby Kennedy and Tulsi Gabbard. Do the work, chase ballots. Join me in welcoming Tulsi Gabbard, everybody.
Thank you so much. Aloha. Salapalava. Mabuhay! It is such a beautiful sight and an amazing feeling to be here to join all of you on this special night. We have people here from all different backgrounds, different races, ethnicities, places we grew up, experiences that we had, all of us coming together, united by our love of this great country. We are united by our love for each other as fellow Americans. We see each other as children of God and recognize that as we come together, we may disagree on some things, but we appreciate our fundamental God-given rights and freedoms that are enshrined in our Constitution and Bill of Rights. This is why we stand here together tonight, 12 days before the most historic and important election of our lives, united for change. There is a very clear choice in this election. I am doing all that I can to help elect President Trump because there is nothing short of our freedom and our future on the line. We've seen some of the most egregious and brazen abuses of power coming from the Harris-Biden administration than we've ever seen in our country, certainly in my lifetime. To see a person in Kamala Harris who is telling the American people that she believes in free speech, that her campaign is about freedom, and yet fundamentally she does not believe in our right to free speech. She doesn't believe in our right to gather in places like this and express ourselves. She doesn't believe in our right that is fundamental to the First Amendment to criticize our own government. We saw just recently in the aftermath of Hurricane Helene's disaster wreaked on the people of Western North Carolina and 5 other states. Those of us had some things to say on behalf of our fellow Americans about how they have been failed by our government during their most dire time of need. And if you listen to the White House, if you listen to Joe Biden and you listen to Kamala Harris, they criticized us and called us dangerous for spreading misinformation. That is what is at the core of what I view as the dangerous threat to our freedom and our democracy, because it's in dictatorships and authoritarian governments where those in power view those who criticize them as dangerous. There is no one they have targeted more than President Donald J. Trump. And there's a reason for that. Because they recognize that he doesn't bend the knee or kiss the ring in the establishment of Washington, D.C. They recognize that he brings the voices of the people of this country who are frustrated and sick and tired of being forgotten and left behind by those in power. They recognize that President Trump is the only Republican who has had the courage to stand up to the uniparty of war in Washington and state over and over his commitment for peace. This is why they're throwing everything they possibly can at him and why they see him as the greatest threat. We see how they try to silence and censor those of us who dare to criticize them, saying that we are spreading misinformation or disinformation and therefore must be censored. How can we trust a person to uphold her oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States who does not believe in the First Amendment? We can't. Exactly. How can we trust a person to uphold her oath to the Constitution who doesn't believe in the Second Amendment and our right to protect our loved ones? How do we trust someone in the presidency to uphold the rule of law when over the last 4 years, Kamala Harris has allowed open borders and 20 million plus people in who their very first act was to break our laws. We cannot allow ourselves or our friends to fall for the lies and the propaganda. She's working hand in glove with the mainstream media and big tech, doing all that they can to erase the past and try to make us believe that this new picture is somehow true. They're so afraid, and they're doing all of this because they see that a free people in a free country are the greatest threat to their power. That's us. We must be vigilant. We the people is a call to action. We need to save our country, and President Trump needs every one of us to stand with him in making that possible. This is a no-fail mission we have before us. Yes, your vote is critical, but you got to bring 10 people with you to make sure that our voices are heard in the swamps of Washington and that Donald Trump goes back to the White House to make America great again and start to clean that house. Now, President Trump said something last night when we were in Georgia that really struck a chord with me. He told the people there in Georgia that what he has built and what he is leading is a movement of love. Love for our country, love for our freedom, love for the American people, and the promise of getting us back towards a path of peace, freedom, and prosperity. This is why I'm supporting President Trump, and this is why we need to send him back to the White House. So I want you to join me right now, sharing all of the aloha that is in your heart, and welcome the 47th President to the United States here on stage right now.
So I'd like to begin by asking a very simple question. Are you better off than you were 4 years ago?
Is it easier for you to go and buy things in the stores than it was 4 years ago?
9% of Americans say the economy is getting worse.
This has been a 4-year agenda. It's really crushed middle-class families.
Is there more or less unemployment in the country?
People are
Some people tell the country is on the wrong track.
That track follows 3.5 years of you being vice president.
It's America, if respected throughout the world.
Biden and Kamala Harris have projected weakness on the world stage. Imagine if Kamala Harris was the commander-in-chief. We're on the verge of World War III.
We feel that our security is as safe, that we're as strong as we were
Under
4
President
years ago.
Biden, nearly 7.3 million illegal immigrants crossed the southwest.
The Biden-Harris administration open border policies are responsible for the death of my daughter.
You answer all those questions, yes, well, I think your choice is very obvious. Do we vote for?
You know, they want hope. The people need hope. They want to have a future. Listen to them.
If you don't think that this course that we've been on for the last 4 years is what you would like to see us follow the next 4, then I could suggest another choice that you make.
Walking by is an absolute savage.
From securing the border to foreign policy progress and boosting the economy.
Trump beats Biden and Harris in a landslide.
Many are supporting because their lives were simply better under his administration.
People are hungry to be proud of this country again, and that energy is something that Trump is bringing.
November 5th is the most important day in the history of our country.
Sorry to keep you waiting, complicated business.
As I was saying, 2024 is our final battle.
Everything is on the line in this election. No one can sit home in November.
This election is going to decide the fate of Western civilization.
With you at my side, we will demolish the deep state. Take back that glorious White House. And we will liberate America from these villains once and for all. It's a dangerous job being president.
Polling shows Donald Trump expanding his lead. We see Trump leading in those swing states to retake the White House.
We got to get out there and vote. We can end this insanity once and for all. America great again. Ladies and gentlemen, please
forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend Merfield today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from the sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA. Well, there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say, I'm proud to be an American, at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I'm gladly stand up next to you and defend Merfield today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. I'm proud to be an American, at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I'm gladly stand up next to you and defend Merfield today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Thank you very much, everybody. And a very big hello, Las Vegas. We love you, Las Vegas. And hello to Nevada. I'm thrilled to be back in this incredible state with thousands of proud, hardworking American patriots. It's great. It's great. And I'd like to begin by asking a very simple question. Are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? I don't think so. What do you think? No way. No, you were much better off 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, and 7 years ago, and 8 years ago. This is terrible what's happening to our country. This is terrible. We have people that are grossly incompetent. We have the worst president in the history of the United States. We have the worst vice president in the history of the United States. And unlike us here tonight, we have an intelligent group of people. You have a man that doesn't need teleprompters, wasn't that nice? But in Georgia tonight, they say that Kamala has just absolutely bombed. She's bombed. It's the big story. In fact, I was going to watch it. I didn't want to come out. I wanted to watch that first. Isn't that terrible? Then I could explain to you what happened, but I hear it was bad tonight. But it's always bad. It's always bad. But I'm here today with a message of hope for all Americans. And with your vote in this election, we will end inflation. We, all of us together, we will stop the invasion. And we will bring back the American dream, something you haven't heard about for about 4 years. Think about it. 4 years ago, we had no inflation. We were energy independent. We were strong as hell. Nobody was playing games with us. Nobody was threatening us. The Middle East wasn't fighting. Russia wasn't going into Ukraine. They never would have gone. What a shame. What a mess we are in. The world, the whole world is in a mess. And nuclear war with incompetent people looms. Don't kid yourself. We've never been so close. Our country is being crippled and destroyed by Kamala Harris and Biden, but he's like not even the president. What's going on with this guy? You know, we're supposed to be talking about the president. We're talking about the vice president who got no votes. Whether you like him or not, I'm not a big fan, as you probably know. But, you know, we had a debate. He didn't do particularly well. I wouldn't say it was the greatest. It was not Winston Churchill. Do we agree? The late, great Winston Churchill, who was a great debater. This was not, but he didn't do well. But he went down, and they should have let him. I mean, get 14 million votes. She got no votes. And now she's imploding worse than him. She's actually imploding, if you take a look. Because, look, I'm not supposed to say it, but we are leading by so much. Now we're leading by a lot in Nevada. We're leading by a lot in Arizona, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, even states that are typically never in play for 50, 60, 70 years. They seem of getting close. Sir, New Hampshire is in play. I said, oh, that's nice. Let's make a trip. Let's make a trip. But the fact is that states, other states too, big states are all in play. And they like us, but you know what? They think she is grossly incompetent. Let's face it. She's not doing well. We can't have her as president. Can't have. We've had that for 4 years. We're not going to go another 4 years. She broke it, and I promise you I will fix it, and we'll fix it fast. With your support on November 5th, America will be bigger, better, bolder, richer, safer, and stronger than ever before. This election is a choice between whether we will have 4 more years of incompetence, failure, and disaster, or whether we will begin the 4 greatest years in the history of our country. We can do that. It's not too late. It's not too late. A couple of years like this, it will be too late. You'll never put it together again. After all the catastrophes that she has caused, Kamala Harris can't say one thing that she'd do differently. Did you see that the other night? Would you name one thing? How about 20? Would you name like 25, 30? But I'm asking you to be excited about the future of our country again. You're going to be excited. Because this will be America's new golden age. It's going to be the golden age of America. You watch. You watch. And we're off to a little bit of a bad start because we're starting around the minus 30-yard line. But we'll catch up fast. We'll clean up our country. We'll get the criminals the hell out of here that are pouring in. Right? Every problem facing us can be solved, but now the fate of our nation is in your hands because we can't go any longer. We're taking it right up to the edge. Nevada, you have to stand up and you have to tell Kamala Harris that you've had enough. You can't take it anymore. She's the worst vice president. She's grossly incompetent. Kamala, you're fired. Get out of here. Fired. Fired. Get out. Get the hell out of here. We got to fix our country. We got to fix up our country. It's a nation in decline, Kamala. Get the hell out of here. The polls are open for early voting in Nevada every day from now to November 1st. So get your husband. Hank, get the hell out of the couch, Hank. Get up, get that big fat ass of yours. We're gonna go and vote for the president. We're gonna turn our country around, Hank. Come on, let's go, Hank.
right? So get out, vote Republican up and down the ballot. We're going to do a real job. With your help, 12 days from now, 12 days. We've been waiting for 4 years. Now think of it, we did great in 2016. I hate to tell you, we did much better, like millions and millions of votes better. But you know what, now, what we do is going to be bigger. This will be the biggest political event in the history of our country if we win. With your help, 12 days from now, we are going to win Nevada. We are going to defeat Kamala Harris, and we are going to make America great again. Right? Thank you. What spirit? What spirit? It's like a pent up, isn't it? It's like pent up spirit. That's crazy. It's like a boiler waiting to explode. You've been waiting for this so long. Get out and vote. We can't take any chances. Got to get out and vote. That's why they say, don't say how well we're doing, sir. Please, please. We got to get If you say how well, they'll say, oh, we don't have to vote. The president, and then they throw a couple of more votes in there, right? No, we can't let that happen. No, you have to get out and vote. If Kamala gets 4 more years, she will obliterate our economy, kill millions of jobs, kill thousands of people too, by the way, and destroy your family finances, probably forever. Kamala's inflation has already cost the typical family over $30,000 in higher prices. They all talk, everybody I speak to, they talk about groceries. You know, such a basic term, groceries. The groceries, they mean every single item of grocery, because your foods have gone up 50, 60, 70%, much more than the fake news tells you. Look at that. Oh, that's a lot of fake news. Man, that is a lot of fake news. I don't believe it. Wow. You know, they sort of have a death wish because they don't want to follow me, but they have to because those ratings. Ultimately, it's ratings first for them. Country about 5th. I say country is about 5th or 6th, right? The great Vivek. Stand up, Vivek. We have Marco Rubio. We have everybody. Marco. We have Marco. We went to a Latino restaurant. They saw Marco. They went crazy. And now she wants to raise taxes on the typical Las Vegas family by an average of $5,000 a year. The only one I've ever known campaigning and raising taxes. Take a look at the video, please.
To get rid of that tax bill, calling for a full review of President Trump's tax cuts.
If Kamala Harris was elected president, there are many different tax policies which could cripple the economy. But the first thing she wants to do is allow these Trump tax cuts to expire.
Even the New York Times admits that 85% of the middle class got a tax cut.
Americans will face a hike. The Tax Foundation finding that a couple with 2 kids making $165,000 a year would have to pay over $2,400 more in taxes.
And on day one, I will repeal that tax bill. Joe Biden and I are about to work to get rid of that tax cut. Joe and I are about to get rid of that tax bill. Joe Biden and I are about to get rid of that tax cut.
Everything from a 70 to 80% tax rate.
I think that's fantastic. We've got to increase the corporate tax rate. Part of that is going to be about repealing that tax bill that they just passed. And also looking at estate taxes are going to have to go up. We will tax capital gains,
But we're gonna have to raise corporate taxes.
Taxing unrealized gains just doesn't seem fair in any sense of the word.
Well, the value of your home goes up, you pay higher taxes even if you don't sell your home.
Your value of your home never moves the way the stock moves to say, we're gonna tax what you don't have. That's a strong point, and it's a big deal. Is that something you think she firmly believes in?
I think it's part of the proposals of the campaign.
Under my plan, there will also be a carbon fee. There has to be some connection between the fee and bad behaviors, and there has to be, and that we have to monitor whether it's going to be passed on to consumers. But I'm going to tell you that should never be the reason not to actually put a fee, and in particular, a carbon fee.
And that's just the beginning with her. Think of it, she wants to tax, think of what this means. She wants to tax unrealized gains. In other words, you don't know if you have a gain or not. Like Danica over here, she makes a fortune. She makes so much money. I wonder if she would mind paying unrealized, because someday you may have a gain. Let's tax it. I don't know. Danica Patrick, great. I've been a fan of yours so long. So talented. And so beautiful, but I'm not allowed to say that as a politician, so I will withdraw that statement. You know, today, if you say somebody's beautiful, it's the end of your political career. I don't think so. Thank you very much, Danica. But this is the only woman or man, this is the only person I've ever seen that's campaigning on tax hikes. He's going to raise your taxes maybe 70%, maybe 80%. All my life, I grew up in this stuff, and I'd watch the politicians, and they were, we will cut your taxes. I say it because it's true. I'm going to cut your taxes. I gave you the biggest tax cut in the history of our country and the biggest regulation cuts in the history. And we're going to cut them further. That's more like a good politician, but it's also somebody that knows how it has to work. We need that. The people don't have the money. We're going to get your interest rates down too, by the way. Kamala also launched a war on tip workers and service workers here in Nevada, increasing the so-called tip. You know, she wants this. When I said no tax on tips, remember? A month later, she comes out, and we will have no tax on tips. She never said that. And she's never said it again. You're not going to get it. We're going to have no tax on tips. She wanted to increase and did increase the so-called tip allocation tax rate by 60%. She raised your tax, and then she's supposed to say, no tax on tips. In other words, even after Kamala wrecked your economy with inflation, she came after you with tip income, sort of like a vulture would do. If she gets 4 more years, Kamala Harris will pick your pockets bare. By contrast, I will massively cut taxes for workers, and in particular, we will have no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security benefits for our great seniors. All three are very good for this room. Which is the most? Let's do a poll, free poll. I won't have to pay $700,000. Which you like more? Ready? We'll go tips, overtime, Social Security. Which is the way? Which is the, because you guys, I mean, you sort of have them in this state, you have them all. Tips is great, but overtime is great too. Ready? Vote for one. You can only, let's assume you can only have one, which you can't. You're going to get all three. What do you like best? Free poll for Trump. No tax on tips. No tax on overtime? What is that? Okay. No tax on Social Security benefits for the That's amazing. See, the seniors always win. They always win. Under the Trump administration, we're going to build an economy that lifts up all Americans, including African Americans, Hispanic Americans, and also members of our great Asian American and Pacific Islander community, many of whom are here today, especially so many amazing Nevada Filipinos, right? I have to be honest. So what happened? I came in and I saw so many people. I said, where the hell? They had the most beautiful, they had the most beautiful clothing, such bright colors. I said, where the hell do all these people come from? And when they told me, that's why I put that little paragraph in there. I said, it's great. You are the greatest people, hardworking people, and we're going to take care of you. We're going to take care of you. You're going to take care of us. No, you're great. No, what spirit, what great spirit. It's an honor to have you here. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Beautiful clothing, the colors. I want to wear colors like that. How would it be if I walked into the Oval Office with some of those colors I saw tonight? I don't know, maybe. For me, I don't think it works. But we're pleased to be joined by an incredible leader from the Asian American Pacific community, a lieutenant colonel in the U.S. Army Reserve and a former congresswoman and Democratic presidential candidate. And you just heard her, and she is great. And she is so popular. You know, I always say she's a woman of common sense. I've watched her for a long time. Of course, not that long because she's quite young. But I've watched her for a long time. And I've always loved her stance. She doesn't want to go to war with countries that nobody ever heard of, that don't want war. Tulsi Gabbard, she's great. Thank you. Great job, Tulsi. Great job, Tulsi. Thank you. She's terrific. And we have, don't forget, Bobby Kennedy is going to straighten out our health. He's going to straighten out our health and all of that stuff. And I don't know if I'm going to have him working too much on the environment. I'm a little concerned about that with Bobby. I don't know if I want him playing around with our liquid gold under our feet. You know, I gotta say, Bobby, work on health. He's great. Because, you know, I like the liquid gold, I think, more than his oil and gas. I think I like that a little bit more than Bobby. But he'll have an impact. No, he's so popular. We introduced him last night. Place went crazy. Went crazy with Tulsi, too. And Tucker Carlson was here last night. He was very popular, really popular. We had a great time last night, but we had about 20,000. Today we have 29,000 people, and we have 29,000 outside to fill the place up twice. We broke the record in this place. It's a nice place, by the way, quite nice. But we have a bigger number of people outside. If anybody would like to give up your seat, please raise your hand. We have a big number of people outside. It's a great honor. You know what? This is the greatest political movement in the history of our country, probably in the history of the world. It's called MAGA. It's called Make America Great Again. It's very simple. When Sleepy Joe Biden, remember a year ago, he was with the pink wall and it looked like the devil, and he was saying, we will stop MAGA, we will stop. He didn't know what the hell he was. We will stop MAGA. And we sent him a note. MAGA means Make America Great Again, Joe. We will stop making America great again. It's crazy. These people are crazy. To further defeat inflation and bring back our economy, I will terminate Kamala's insane electric vehicle mandate. And we will immediately end one of the greatest scams in the history of our country, designed by a person that never even studied anything about the environment, AOC +3. You know AOC? Did you ever take a course on the environment? No, I didn't. But she said the planet will be dead within 12 years. We got to be careful. We got to be careful. You know why we got to be careful? Because with the environment, don't worry, it's going to be just fine. If we don't have smart people in the White House, it'll be dead for another reason, nuclear weapons, and we can't let that happen. We can't let that happen. Because I know the power, I rebuilt our entire military. I know the power of the nuclear, and we're not going to let that happen. We're not going to let stupid people negotiate for us. And the mandate, the electric, and by the way, electric cars are great. Elon Musk endorsed us. He endorsed us, gave us the great. You know where he is right now? He's in Pennsylvania campaigning because he thinks this is the most important election in the history of our country. And he's great. And they are great. They're great, but for a certain group of people. But we want to have gasoline-propelled cars. We want to have hybrids, which are good. Hybrids are good, combination of both. We want to have everything. Hydrogen, I don't know about it. I think Danica would know about hydrogen. Hydrogen cars, Danica, they say they're really good, except there's one problem. When there's a mishap, when it explodes a little bit, they cannot even recognize you. So we never want to do that. That's too much. Hydrogen cars, I think we'll take a pass on hydrogen. Sir, your wife was in a little accident. Oh, what kind of a car? Hydrogen. Where is she? We don't know. She's gone, sir. She's gone. Oh, my wife. I want to see my wife again. Hydrogen, no. I think we'll pass. They said they've gotten it much better. No, that's not good enough. But we will quickly become energy independent again. We were energy independent 4 years ago. And we will frack, 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 and drill, baby, drill, right? We're gonna drill. And I'm gonna cut your energy bill in half within, think of this, within 12 months, 50%, you're gonna have it down. And the reason we can do it is we got that liquid gold. We don't know what to do with it. We have so much, we don't use it. And you know what, when that comes down, because that's what led it up, that and their stupid spending, but the energy is what led it up. They're paying a fortune for energy. We have it under the ground. We're going to use our energy. Your energy bills from January 20th, when we take office, will be down 50% within 12 months, and everything else will follow. To make housing more affordable, we will open up portions of federal land, which is what you've wanted here so badly. And your governor's doing a good job, by the way. We thank him very much, Joe Lombardo. Doing a very good job. For large-scale housing construction, and those zones will have ultra-low taxes and low regulations to help bring back jobs and factories from foreign lands. We have our jobs going to foreign lands. But I killed a big auto plant in Mexico, right? You know that. They were building the biggest auto plant in the world. You know what happened? I said, if you build it, you're going to pay a 200% tariff, meaning you're not going to be able to sell any cars into the United States. And by doing that, I saved Michigan. I helped South Carolina a lot, but I saved Detroit because they've been decimated so badly over the years, over the decades. They've been devastated. We're going to bring the auto industry back into our country through smart taxation and tariffs and incentives. And we're going to have every car company that wants to sell cars in this country, they're going to be making them in our country. And remember, the interest rate deduction, you buy a car, the interest rate deduction that I am going to get you is only going to pertain if the car is made in America. If it's made someplace else, forget it. Got to be made in America. I mean, how smart is that? How simple is that? I probably just tripled their production in Detroit. And by the way, we're leading in Michigan by a lot. We're leading in Wisconsin by a lot. We're leading in Pennsylvania by a lot. But I'm not supposed to say that. Just forget it. Pretend it's close, everybody has to. No, they're afraid that if you hear that, they're not going to vote. I said, well, it's a double-edged sword. You know, if we're leading by a lot, they won't think about cheating as much as if we're just leading by a little bit, because we got to stop. We got to make these elections honorable and honest, and we're going to do it. We're going to do it. Starting in January, we will give our companies the lowest taxes, the lowest energy costs, the lowest regulatory burdens, and free access to the best and biggest market anywhere on the planet, but only if they make their products here in America and hire American workers. Otherwise, they pay just like everybody else. And I say the most beautiful word in the entire dictionary of words is the word tariff. I love tariff. I can make anybody do anything through the use of tariffs. I can keep people out of war. I can keep us out of war. The word tariff is the most beautiful. I think I'll do this just so I don't get myself in trouble. I'm going to say the third most beautiful: love and religion. And then the word tariff. Then the word tariff. I better do that, right, Vivek? I think I better say love is the most, and religion, they're the number 1, 2. You can switch them back and forth any way you want. This way, I've just protected myself. But the third most beautiful word is the word tariff. You know, it really did. Tariffs needed a press agent because all these crooked politicians, they didn't like it. You know, they're all taken care of by foreign countries. They don't like tariffs. But we're doing the tariffs, and we're going to, you know, I charged China. China was charged by me hundreds of billions of dollars over the last few years that we were in the administration. In fact, Biden hasn't been able to get rid of them because they make so much damn money. They can't justify getting rid of them. He'd love to, because they paid him a lot of money, China. They've given him a lot of money. He'd love to be able to reciprocate, right? But no, we took in hundreds of billions of dollars in China tariffs and other tariffs too. And you can make, we stay out of wars. I've been, as an example, 2 countries fighting each other for like 1,000 years. They're always fighting back, and you probably know, I don't want to get involved, but you know the countries back and forth. And I got tired of it. I called them both. I said, here's the story. You guys have been fighting each other for thousands of years. Stop already. Are you ready to hear? 200% tariffs I'm going to put on each of your countries if you fight. And if you don't fight, you don't have the tariffs. But if you fight, now these are people that kill a lot of people. They kill each other for years and years and decades and centuries. I said, if you keep this up, I'm charging you 200% tariffs to do business in the United States. And I want to know immediately. Call me tomorrow. They call me up. Sir, we have decided not to go into war. I saved a lot of lives. Just. And you know, it had nothing to do with me, but I'd rather see people not get killed, okay? And you know what? Sadly, 0 chance that Putin would have gone into Ukraine if I were president. 0 chance. What a shame that is. All of the death, and it's far greater than you hear about. When they knock down those buildings that are 3 blocks long and 20 stories high, and they say 1 person was slightly injured. The death in that whole thing is just crazy. And I'm going to work on that from the day, hopefully, the day that we win, which is November 5th, in the evening, on the evening of November 5th. I will call Putin. I will call Zelensky. I said, we got to stop it. I'm going to try and get it done as president-elect. As president-elect. That'll give me plenty of credibility. I don't have to wait till January 20th. I'm going to try and get it done sooner than that. It's horrible. The people that are being killed. And October 7th would have never happened with Israel. All those people would never have been killed. Iran was broke. They would not have been able to do it. They weren't giving money to Hezbollah. They weren't giving money to Hamas. They didn't have money. They didn't have money. And I was looking to help them. You know, we did a thing called the Abraham Accords, and anybody else would have been given the Nobel Prize. Me, they gave Obama the Nobel Prize. He didn't even know why the hell he got it, right, Obama? He still doesn't. He got elected, and they announced he's getting the Nobel Prize. I got elected in a much bigger, better, crazier election. But they gave him the Nobel Prize. Ladies and gentlemen, the Nobel Prize will be won by Barack Hussein Obama, right? Barack Hussein Obama got the Nobel Prize. He didn't even know what, he actually asked, why did I get it? Does anybody know? Right at the beginning, the early seconds of his administration. And he didn't do a good job either. He brought a lot of division and a lot of hatred. And if these companies don't make their products here, then they will pay a tariff when they send their products into the United States for the privilege of competing with our workers and our cherished and now protected companies. We're going to protect these companies that are going to come in by the thousands, and then we're going to protect them. Nobody's going to steal their product, their people, or their company. We're going to protect them through the intelligent use of tariffs. And as you probably heard, this big plant that everyone's talking about that's being built by China in Mexico right along the border, I said, if they build that plant and if I win, I'm going to put a 200% tariff on every car and they're not going to be able to sell a car. And you know what happened? They announced last week they're not building the plant because of Trump. I saved Michigan, I saved Detroit. They're not building. It's the biggest plant in the world, biggest auto plant in the world. And they announced they're not going to build now. They said, that guy's crazy. And we will pass the Trump Reciprocal Trade Act if China or any other country, it's not just China, charges us a 100 or 200% tax or tariff, then we will charge them an identical 100 or 200% tax or tariff. Here's the story. They charge us, we charge them. You know what's going to happen? They're not going to charge us. Very simple. It's called an eye for an eye. I will never apologize for defending America. I will protect our workers. I will protect our jobs. I will protect our borders. I will protect our families. And I will protect the birthright of our children to live in the richest and most powerful nation on the face of the earth. And we're rapidly losing that title. Under Kamala's economy, millions of Americans are suffering because of inflation. And those seniors that are going to get that beautiful gift, the one of three on Social Security, they've been hurt so badly because most seniors, well, I'm a senior. Can you believe it? I'm a senior. I don't feel it. They'll say, he has a conflict of interest by proposing that. Oh, they'll say anything. I have a conflict of interest. I'm a senior and I'm proposing some great benefit for the seniors. He's giving it to what? They'll come up with something, those people. But the seniors have been hurt so bad by inflation that they're entitled. They are entitled to what we're getting them in terms of a tax reduction and in terms of getting them some extra, because they were devastated. You know, if you look at inflation, I think it's up 60, 70. They like to say it's 22, 23. It's not. They don't include the bad ones, but it's way up, and they're on a fixed income. They're entitled to what we're going to get them on Social Security. They really are. But I'm still amazed that they won. I've never done that they won my little poll. That little poll, those seniors never lose. They just know how to win. But we're losing our jobs, and they can't afford housing or groceries or a car. And yet Kamala is importing millions and millions of illegals across our borders, letting them come in, open borders. They come in, we have no idea who they are, where they come from. They come from parts unknown. They come from parts unknown, giving them taxpayer benefits at your expense. They say, come to America, we'll give you health care. Try going into a hospital now. Try going into a hospital. Go to Springfield, Ohio. Try getting into the hospital. They have this beautiful community of 52,000 people. And they just sent 30,000 people into Springfield, Ohio that don't speak English. You used to be sick, you'd go into a hospital. Now you're sick and they say, we can't take you. Every hospital is packed. Every school is packed. The schools are packed with students that don't even speak English. You know what they're looking for now? interpreters, hundreds of interpreters. Can you believe it? Because the mayor is a very nice man and he wants to help. And instead of saying, I'm sorry, you cannot be here, you have to go back where you came from, you have to, he said, we want to get interpreters. He's trying to be nice. That's not the way to be. And then you look at Aurora in California, take a look at Aurora in Colorado, where people have better guns, more advanced than most militaries. They're called Supreme guns. They're Supreme. They're the Supreme version. They come out of Venezuela and other countries and they take over real estate by gunpoint. In other words, like me, they're in the real estate business. Isn't that nice? But they don't borrow money to do it. They don't put up their own money. They just walk in and start collecting the rents. It's out of control. The governor is petrified. He's petrified. He's a radical left Democrat. And I'll tell you, Colorado's so angry because even Democrats leading, think of that though. I'm leading everybody, Democrat, Republican, and that guy tried to take me off the ballot. We're going to win the state of Colorado. We got to win Colorado just to send a message. So Colorado, if you're watching, let's send a message back home that cannot play with our Constitution. You're witnessing the economic oppression of Americans to reward and enrich illegal aliens. But all that stops 2 weeks from now. Think of it, 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks. For 4 straight years, Kamala Harris has imported an army of illegal alien gang members and migrant criminals from prisons and jails, insane asylums and mental institutions all over the world, from Venezuela to the Congo in Africa. And she's resettled them into a community near you. Isn't that lovely? And really did it, and they will prey on innocent Americans that have no idea what we're getting into. When we win on November 5th, the migrant invasion ends and the restoration of our country begins. And one of the deadliest and most vicious migrant gangs that Kamala has allowed to come into our country through her stupid and ridiculous open borders policy is the savage Venezuelan prison gang. Isn't that nice that a bunch of guys got together in prison? It's named Tren de Aragua and is taking over all sorts of real estate and apartment complexes and unleashing a violent terror spree all over America, including Times Square in New York. Take a look.
Open borders, deadly consequences.
Border crisis. Record high crossings are putting a strain on cities across America. It is a full-blown invasion.
Armed Venezuelan gang members storming an apartment complex in Aurora, Colorado.
When people talk about migrant crime, this is what they're talking about.
San Antonio, Texas, just one of the latest cities to have apartment complexes taken over by members of the Venezuelan gang.
Biden and Harris had created a program to bring them in under humanitarian parole.
I am in favor of saying that we're not going to treat people who are undocumented cross-border as criminals.
More than 13,000 illegal immigrants convicted of murder have been released into the United States.
My 20-year-old daughter, Kayla Hamilton, was murdered in her own room. Kayla's murderer was apprehended by Border Patrol crossing illegally into the U.S.
Kayla's murderer had been improperly released into the United States.
Abolish ICE. Yeah, we need to probably think about starting from scratch.
More than a dozen people suspected of being Tren de Aragua gang members right here in San Antonio.
The gang members had been terrorizing the apartment complex.
New details in the murder of Laken Riley. The illegal immigrant suspect, who cops say committed the heinous murder, is a Venezuelan national.
He was paroled and released into the country by the Biden administration.
If they'd all been properly vetted, that probably wouldn't have happened.
2 men investigators say are in the country illegally from Venezuela are charged with capital murder and the death of Jocelyn Nungaray.
Martinez and Angel wrapped his arms around Jocelyn's neck, took off her pants, and climbed on top of her. Later strangled Jocelyn to death and then tied up her hands and feet.
Court documents suggest a group of men arrested for beating and robbing a Dallas woman last month are members of a Venezuelan street gang.
The men threatened to cut off her fingers if she did not cooperate. Manuel Hernandez was booked by Colleyville police just 2 days earlier and released the day before the robbery.
A Peruvian gang leader
who is wanted for 23 murders, who was arrested by Border Patrol near Roma, Texas, then released into America.
And you know, Border Patrol, last week, they endorsed me. They gave me a full, complete, and unanimous endorsement. And they have every year since I've been involved in politics, every single year, but they're incredible people. But it wasn't the endorsement, it was what they said about her. They said she's the absolute worst thing that could happen to our country. And it's hard for them to say that. It's hard for them to say that. But they meant it. The United States is now an occupied country, but it will soon be an occupied country no longer. November 5th, 2024 will be Liberation Day in America. We're going to get them out. We're going to get them out. Under Kamala Harris, 13,099, and this comes right from Border Patrol. And they never did this before. They never gave out these numbers, but they did now because they see it as so serious. 13,099 illegal alien convicted murderers. These are people in penitentiaries and jails, prisons, all over the world, are now on the loose in the United States of America. This summer, an illegal alien from El Salvador was arrested in West Virginia after going on a violent rampage in which he brutally beat a couple with a baseball bat so hard that the police said they've never seen anything like it. Repeatedly over and over again, then stabbed a man and then murdered a West Virginia mother of two and lit the body on fire in a field. Kamala Harris released him into custody even though he was convicted of murder and a convicted sex offender. And this is a violent person who hit again numerous times. And under her theory, it's just fine. He can do whatever he wants. No, we can't do this anymore. Would anybody, I just happen to have it, and this is, has anybody heard the snake before? Would you like to hear the snake again? You sure? Because it's a nice evening. We have not, is there any place better than being at a Trump rally, the biggest rally, the greatest movement? All right, we'll do the snake, yes? So this is a little play on words, not her kind of words, word salad. I don't like the term, but it's sort of true. It's terrible. I don't know what's going on in her mind. This is the snake, and this is really about illegal immigration and people that come into our countries that are murderers, killers, drug dealers, gang members, prisoners of the worst sort from all over the world. On her way to work one morning, down the path along the lake, a tender-hearted woman saw a poor, half-frozen snake. His pretty colored skin had been all frosted with the dew. Poor thing, she cried, I'll take you in and I'll take care of you. Take me in, O tender woman, take me in for heaven's sake. Take me in, O tender woman, sighed the vicious snake. She wrapped him up all cozy in a comforter of silk and laid him by her fireside with some honey and some milk. She hurried home from work that night, and soon as she arrived, she found the pretty snake she'd taken had been survived. Take me in, oh tender woman, take me in for heaven's sake. Take me in, oh tender woman, cried the vicious snake. She clutched him to her bosom. You're so beautiful, she cried. But if I hadn't brought you in by now, you truly would have died. She stroked his pretty skin again and kissed and held him tight. But instead of saying, thank you, ma'am, the snake gave her a vicious bite. Take me in, O tender woman. Take me in for heaven's sake. Take me in, O tender woman, sighed the vicious snake. I saved you, cried the woman, and you've bitten me, but why? You know your bite is poisonous, and now I'm going to die. Shut up, silly woman, said the reptile with a grin. You knew damn well I was a snake. before you took me in. Huh? And that's what we're doing. That was pretty good. That ended up perfectly. I could have done that 100 times and that wouldn't have happened. You know, that really is just what's happening now. We're letting people in from prisons and we're letting them in from mental institutions. It's the snake. It's going to bite us like nobody's ever been bitten before. You know, in 2019, I don't even believe these in 2018, but 2019, Border Patrol put down 0 during my term, 4 years. 2019, 0 terrorists allowed into our country. We had it down, the drugs, the whole thing, human trafficking, mostly in women. You know, the human trafficking is mostly in women. But, you know, we're missing, think of this, 325,000 children are missing. They're gone. Never to be seen probably again. They're either sex slaves, or they're dead. Their parents will never see them again. They're missing. They come through the southern border. Think if I did that. Think if a Republican did that, what it would be. And the fake news back there never talks about it. They won't talk about it. But they have down that in 2019, 0 terrorists were allowed into our country. Now, I think they're probably wrong, but because there must be some. And then the next year they have down as 11, and we captured all 11 and took them the hell out of here. But think of this. Now we have thousands of terrorists coming into our country, unvetted and unchecked. We can't do this. We can't do this. So the snake is a very interesting old song that was played that I played around with, made it a little bit more apropos, but it's really true. The snake. It's take me, an vicious woman, and it's really something. So she dies. We're going to die. We're going to have a lot of death because these people are just getting used to their surroundings. You know, they're getting used to it. This just started. When I say just started 3 years ago at a level that nobody's ever seen before. We have to have a safe country. We can't have a safe country when half of the worst terrorists in the world are let free into our country. And we're going to do something about it. And we're going to deport all of them, get them the hell out of here. Nothing good can happen. Nothing good is going to happen. And anybody that can be so stupid as to think that that's a good thing. And there's only 3 reasons it can be. They're stupid, which they're not, because anybody that can cheat at elections that well, they're not stupid. They hate our country, or they're trying to get those people to sign up and vote. And all 3 of them are not good. Immediately upon taking the oath of office, I will launch the largest deportation program in American history. I will rescue every town across America that has been invaded and conquered. And we will put, and that's true. Think of the words, towns that have been invaded and conquered. They've been conquered. They've been conquered. And a lot of, it's not everybody's Aurora where they're talking about it. We have many towns that are in the same position and worse, but they don't want to talk about it. It's out of control. And we have a lot of towns that haven't yet been infected, but they're petrified that they will be, and they will be. And we will put these vicious and bloodthirsty criminals in jail or kick them the hell out of the country so fast. To expedite removal of Trende, Aragua, and MS-13 gang members, the worst in the world. MS-13, you know about that. They come from South America, and they love knives, and they kill people with knives because it's more deadly than bullets. 2 young girls in Long Island walking down the street, a lot of them in Long Island, we got rid of almost all of them, but now they're coming back under this stupid, ridiculous group of people that we have in Washington. 2 beautiful 16-year-old girls are walking to school, MS-13 gang, during the early morning, grabbed them and sliced them up with a knife. They didn't want to use the bullet because it's too fast, and they sliced them up, both died. And we did numbers on those guys like you wouldn't believe. Nobody else would have done it. Nobody else would have done it. You have some people that think they should be protected. These are animals that we have to deal with them accordingly, or we're not going to have a country left. I will invoke the Alien Enemies Act of 1798. Think of that. Think of how far back. Think of how far back we have to go, because we have weak politicians that don't deal with these problems correctly. Like I did in Washington when they started ripping down our statues. They didn't get there. But I found an old act from the early 1900s that said, if you touch one of our beautiful monuments of Lincoln, Washington, any one of them, you get automatically 10 years in jail. And they were going a little wild. Do you remember? They were going a little bit wild. They were a little out of control. They had ropes around General Jackson. They had ropes around Abraham Lincoln. When they put the rope around Lincoln, I said, all right, let's go. Let's go. That's a step too far. Would have been everybody. And they didn't care one way or the other. They're mostly just troublemakers. They didn't know. They didn't even know it was Lincoln, frankly. But I enacted the act, and I had a little news conference. I said, from this moment forward, anybody that so much as touches one of our beautiful Washington monuments goes to jail for 10 years with no parole, no nothing. And it was a beautiful sight, because I looked out of the White House window and I saw thousands of people from the back. I watched all of those asses walking away from Washington, and they were gone. And we never heard from them again. It's an amazing thing. We never heard from them again. And that was the end of that. But we have to be strong. So I will invoke the Alien Enemies Act of 1798 to target the migrant criminal network. And it is a bad one, operating on American soil. We will target them. We will hit them so hard. If you don't, you're not going to survive. This is an army. This is an army that they allowed into our country, an army. And if they come back into our country after being thrown out, it's an automatic 10 years in jail with no possibility of parole. And I'm hereby calling for the death penalty for any migrant that kills an American citizen or law enforcement officer. We have no choice. We have no choice because it's not sustainable by any country. It's not sustainable. I will end catch and release. I will end all migrant flights. Think of, I had a deal with Mexico. You think this was easy? Remain in Mexico. Nobody was allowed into our country. In Tijuana, this was the fastest growing city in the world. They had hundreds of thousands of people. They couldn't come into our country. I said, one person steps foot into our country without our approval. In other words, before we check them out, one person, we're going to put 100 and 200% tariffs on everything. And they said, sir, whatever you'd like. We would love to keep them. We would love to keep 500,000 people in Tijuana. And I will outlaw sanctuary cities immediately, and we will ban all welfare and federal benefits for illegal. We are running against the most radical and most incompetent, most unfit vice president in the history of our country. No one respects her. No one trusts her. You know, President Xi of China, they asked me, he's a friend of mine. I thought, we were actually very close, but frankly, COVID, or as I call it, the China virus, was a step too far. But we had a very good relationship. Putin, all of them, I know all of them very well. No one takes her seriously. Somebody said, what kind of a man is President Xi of China? I said, he's a fierce man. There's nobody in Hollywood that could play the role of him. He's a fierce person. And she will be just, she'll be gobbled up. They are looking so forward to this. But we're not going to let it happen because we're killing them right now. We're beating them so badly, and we're going to keep it going. Just get out and vote. Just get out and vote. Don't take any chances. Don't take any chances. Get out and vote. But we're not only running against Kamala. She's really purely a vessel. When you watch her, she's only a vessel, and he's only a vessel too. He was perfect for them. He didn't know where the hell he was. We're running against something far bigger than them, far more powerful than her, which is a massive, vicious, crooked, radical left machine that runs today's Democrat Party. That's what we're running against. We're not running against her. She's got nothing to say. I know every player. But this is who we're really fighting. These are the people who are doing such tremendous harm to our country with their open borders, record-setting inflation, Green New Scam deals, and everything else they're doing to our country. But we are not going to let it happen any longer. We are going to have the biggest victory in the history of our country on November 5th. And we are going to, very simply, make America great again. We're going to make it great again. Kamala Harris does not have the compassion, the intelligence, or the strength the presidency needs. I know what it needs. You meet some people. Among the worst that you're going to meet, though, are in our country. I call it the enemy from within. She can't do the job. She can't put two sentences together. She's an international joke. Every country is joking about how stupid our leadership is, from Biden to Kamala. They're a joke all over the world. She's going to end up getting us into World War III, just like he would if he stayed any longer. And on top of it all, she says she would not do one thing differently from crooked Joe Biden, which in itself is totally disqualifying. Take a look at this.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
I stood there on the tarmac watching you check your watch.
The chaotic and deadly U.S. evacuation from Afghanistan stunned Americans and the world and cost the lives of 13 U.S. soldiers.
Would you have done something differently?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
More than 13,000 illegal immigrants convicted of murder have been caught at the border and then released into the United States.
An Afghan national is in custody today after being accused of plotting an election day terrorist attack. The suspect entered the U.S. on a special immigrant visa.
Gut-wrenching new details in the murder of Georgia nursing student Laken Riley. The illegal immigrant suspect, who cops say committed the heinous murder, is a Venezuelan national who crossed the unsecured southern border back in 2022.
Two men investigators say are in the country illegally from Venezuela are charged with capital murder and the death of Jocelyn Nandoray.
A fifth illegal immigrant accused of attacking two New York City police officers over the weekend showed no remorse or regret.
Would you have done something differently?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
Only 18% say the economy is in excellent or good condition.
US inflation has hit a new 40-year high, increasing by 9.1% over the financial year.
Authorities saying Train de Aragua, which has been linked with more than 100 criminal investigations here in the U.S., has now been found operating as criminal enterprise in apartment complexes.
Were you the last person in the room? Yes.
And then last night I watched and I just said, just cut out any part of it. You could cut anything you want. Just put it in. When you see this, go ahead, please.
Is there something you can point to in your life, political life, or in your life in the last 4 years that you think is a mistake that you have learned from?
I mean, I've made many mistakes. And they range from, you know, if you've ever parented a child, you know, you make lots of mistakes too. In my role as vice president, I mean, I've probably worked very hard at making sure that I am well versed on issues, and I think that is very important. It's a mistake not to be well versed on an issue and feel compelled to answer a question.
So Nevada, if you want to end this disaster that we're going through, it's not even believable. You know, these foreign leaders are very, very streetwise, very smart people. And they're looking at what's going on in our country. And they really don't want me, but in a certain way they do want me. Because the whole world, like Viktor Orban said, put Trump back in it, it'll all stop. We had no wars, we had nothing. They couldn't play games with us. They couldn't play games. So you must get out and vote. And you also have to fire your radical left senator, Jackie Rosen, who voted repeatedly for rampant inflation and open borders. And you have to elect a man who, by the way, has given up more to run for the United States Senate than any man in the history of the United States Senate, Sam Brown. Sam, where are you, sir? And you're doing very well, Sam. That man is a hero, and he has given up so much, and he deserves it. And she's another laughing stock back. She just votes 100% with whoever she's supposed to vote with. She's no good. She's no good for you. She's no good for this area of the world. Bad senator, not respected. We have somebody that's a very respected senator. Is Senator Marco Rubio here? Where is Senator Marco Rubio? Where is he? He's around here someplace because we love him. There he is. Marco, thank you, Marco. Good man. We have Vivek Ramaswamy. By the way, this guy has a hell of a mouthpiece. Do you want to hear him for about 2 minutes? Can you keep it down to 2 minutes? Come on, let's go. Get up here, Vivek. What a mouthpiece on him. Oh, boy. He's like a machine gun. Come on up here, Vivek. All right. Now he's a great guy. Great future. Please.
I want you to give it up for the greatest president of the 21st century standing right here, Donald J. Trump. We had a secure border, a growing economy. People were living prosperous lives with crime going down in this country. We were on the brink of war with North Korea. What happened? We had no major conflicts around the world when this man was our commander-in-chief. But I'll tell you this, as great as those 4 years were, the best we've had in my lifetime of any president who's led us, as great as 2016 to 2020 was, I promise you this, that second Trump term is going to be even greater. And by the time Donald Trump is leaving the White House, those signs you're holding aren't going to say, "Make America Great Again." We're just going to say, "Make America Greater." MAGA becomes MAG by the time he's done, and let's send him back to the White House. That's how we're going to save our country. President Trump, thank you for everything you've done. Thank you.
Thank you, Vivek. 2.5 years ago, I saw him on a show. I think it was Deface the Nation. Ladies and gentlemen, you're on Deface the Nation, Deface. And he was talking, and I said, who the hell is that guy? And he did damn well. He did damn well. He ran, and he was incredible. And he's got a big future in this party, and we appreciate it, Vivek. So I alluded a little bit to her before, but a true racing legend, somebody that I've had a lot of respect for. She is really something special. She is a very talented person, and now she's doing incredibly since leaving racing. She probably still will always be a little bit in racing, but she's an incredible success story. Danica Patrick. Thank you, Danica. Please. Thank you very much. Thank you, Danica. Sean Merriman, the great football player. I look at this guy. Where is he? Where is that guy? I said, I don't want to get into a fight with him. Thank you. Thank you very much, Sean. He looks like he could play right now. Kash Patel. Where's Kash? Thank you, Kash. Thank you, Kash. Nevada GOP Chair Michael McDonald. Thank you, Michael. How are we doing, Michael? Good? Yeah, we're hearing good things. National Committee Woman Sigal Chattah. Thank you, Sigal. Beautiful family, by the way. Beautiful family. Thank you. And a special guy. He's incredible. Turning Point's Charlie Kirk and all of those people that came with him. He's special. He is a special talent, and he's out there fighting. He's out fighting for those registrations and the votes and making sure everything's honest. He's out there with a big army, and he's got all these very beautiful young people. He likes young people, and they are powerful. People have no idea how many young people there are that are conservatives in this country. People have no idea. An actress and an incredible fighter. I will not mess with her. Gina Carano. Thank you, Gina. Thank you. She's great. And a friend of mine, UFC champion, a man who you don't want to mess around with. He grew up in the streets of Miami at a young age, 9, and he was tougher than everybody else. He was tougher. And some rich guy from Miami saw this guy beating up everybody. He was 9 years old. At 12, they put him into a gym, and it continued. He beat the hell out of everyone. Danica, this is somebody you don't want to fight with. And then he became one of the best fighters in the world in the UFC with Dana White. Dana White's one of the great fighters too, I'll tell you, Dana White. And this man has, I believe, still like 3 seconds, the quickest knockout and I was there for that fight. I think it was like 2.5 or 3 seconds. He pretended he was like bored. The bell's getting, he's like this. It's just like, you know, I said, what's wrong with him? And then he was like a flash, boom. And he runs across the ring and jumped through the air, and he hit the guy in the face with his knee. The whole thing was, he was out. And it's the fastest knockout in the history of the UFC. Jorge Masvidal, where is he? Where is he? This guy. I'm not gonna fight him. I refuse to fight him. He's mean. And he's stone cold mean. But to me, he's nice. To me, he's nice. He's great. Thank you very much. And he's helped us so much with the Hispanic vote. I won Miami. Can you believe it? No Republican wins Miami. I won Miami because they love that guy, right? He's a great fighter, a great champion. So here are the final facts in conclusion on Kamala Harris. She's a radical left Marxist, rated even worse than crazy Bernie Sanders or Pocahontas herself. She destroyed our economy. She was an original creator of defund the police movement. And anybody who wants to defund the police for even 1 week is not worthy of being president of the United States. Kamala Harris vowed to abolish ICE. She vowed repeatedly to ban fracking. As California Attorney General, she redefined child sex trafficking, assault with a deadly weapon, and rape of an unconscious person as non-violent crimes. She pledged to confiscate everybody's gun. Anybody that has a gun, your gun will be she made this pledge. This is where she is, by the way. People don't change. Confiscate your gun, endorsed a total ban on handgun ownership. She even called for free sex changes for illegal aliens in detention. Think of that. You're an illegal alien and you're in detention, and you call for a sex change operation, and she feels you have an obligation to do it. This is not going to be the president of our country. All a taxpayer expense. And then, as you probably saw a few days ago, we had a little interesting visit to McDonald's, right? That turned out to be a big deal. I got a call from a great guy, the head of Google. He said, this is one of the hottest things. We have never seen anything like this. That was a big deal. That was a big deal. It was crazy. But you know why I did that? I went there you never know how something's going to turn out, right? You know, you go, I say, oh, I don't know. Should we be doing this? This is a little hokey. Should we? But I did it to just highlight the fact that for years, she said, I worked at McDonald's. I was over the French fry bin. I made French fries. The heat was so incredible, I had to do it. There was only one problem. She never worked at McDonald's. It was a lie. So I ended up going there for about 15 minutes, and it became quite I'll tell you what, we had 29,000 people surrounding it. We weren't sure if we were going to even be able to get out. We didn't know. That was quite the visit. But that was to highlight the fact. So I was there, let's say, for 15 minutes. That means I worked at McDonald's for 15 minutes more than Kamala. But you know what it shows? That she's a liar. And she's still saying, yeah, I sort of worked there, but now, you know, everyone's gone. McDonald's tends to keep good records. We said, let's see your tax records. She didn't have any. Let's see anything. Give us anything. They had nobody. Then we went to the manager. He's been there a long time. No, she never worked here. She's a liar. And on top of all this, Kamala turned and wants to turn our military woke. Take a look at this. Take a look at this.
You little scumbag! I got your name! I got your ass! You will not win! You will not cry! You will learn by the numbers!
Happy Pride. Happy Pride Month, and actually, let's declare it a summer of pride.
So you're coming! Sir, yes, sir! Let me see your war face! Sir, you got a war face? Ah! That's a war face! Now let me see your war face! Ah! Oh, shit! You didn't convince me! Let me see your real war face! Ah! You'll be elected. You'll be a minister of death, praying for war. But until that day, you are cute. You're the lowest form of life on earth. You're not even human fucking being. You're nothing but unorganized, web-asking pieces of amphibian shit. These bitches know I got answers, so play out. There must have been on that party you ran down and cracked your mama's ass and ended up in the round staying on breakfast. I'm working for Uncle Sam. I'm working for Uncle Sam. Let me know just who I am. Let me know just who I am. 1, 2, 3, 4, United States Marine Corps. 1, 2, 3, 4, United States Marine Corps.
Jorge, we won 2 world wars. Now we're a little different, but you know what the truth is? We defeated ISIS 100% in record time. We have a great military. It's only those stiffs at top like Milley and Mattis and these characters that are on television. They're a bunch of stiffs. Kelly, real stiffs. But we have great generals. We defeated ISIS in record time. They thought it was going to take 5 years. When I came in, we did it in a matter of weeks. So like you fight, Jorge, just like you fight. That's the way we fight. And those guys are never going woke. You could put them in a woke cage for 2 years and open the door and they'll come out fighting. They'll come out. Our military is great. And they proved that with ISIS. Once they had somebody that knew what they were doing, they proved it. Nobody has a better military. I rebuilt the entire U.S. military. Unfortunately, we gave a lot of it, but still not very much relatively. But we gave a lot of it to Afghanistan. What a mistake. What a bunch of dopes. Remember this? They took the military out first. No, you take the military out last. So stupid, so sad. 15, you take a look at what happened. 13 people died, great people. I got to know a lot of the parents and the family members. They're great people. And they are devastated, and especially because it should have never happened. We gave up billions of dollars of equipment. We left American soldiers behind, and we left Bagram, the air base, the great air base, one of the greatest in the world. And you know who occupies it now? I was keeping it. China occupies it now. 1 hour away from China, forget about Afghanistan, 1 hour away from where China makes their nuclear weapons, and we gave it up like nothing. Cost billions of dollars many years ago. In conclusion, with your vote this November, we are going to fire Kamala and we are going to save America. With your support, we will cut your taxes, end inflation, slash your prices, raise your wages, and bring thousands of factories back to America and back to Nevada. We will build American, we will buy American, and we will hire American. I will end the war in Ukraine very quickly. I will stop the chaos in the Middle East, and I will prevent World War III 100%. You're not going to have World War III. We will crush violent crime and give our police the support, protection, resources, and respect that they so dearly deserve. We will strengthen and modernize our military. We will build a massive missile defense shield around our country, all made in the USA. A lot of it will be made in Nevada. We will rebuild our cities, including our capital in Washington, D.C., making them safe, clean, and beautiful again. We will teach our children to love our country, to honor our history, and to always respect our great American flag. And I will put a bill before Congress that anybody burning our American flag goes to jail for 1 year automatically. And you saw that happen 3 months ago in Washington when they had riots and they were burning our American flag all over the place. And they were putting spray paint all over the beautiful lions as the entrance to one of our most beautiful buildings. And you know, it's limestone. Limestone's a very porous stone. I was very good at this. You'll never get that limestone. You'll see that in 100 years, those scars that they put on the limestone, because it goes right into that paint. There's not a damn thing you can do about it. And they weren't arrested. Nothing happened to them. We will get critical race theory and transgender insanity the hell out of our schools. And we will keep men out of women's sports. I will defend religious liberty. I will restore free speech, and I will defend the right to keep and bear arms, our Second Amendment. After years of building up foreign nations, defending foreign borders, and protecting foreign lands, we are finally going to build up our country, defend our borders, and protect our citizens. That's what's going to happen. And we will stop illegal immigration once and for all. We will not be invaded. We will not be occupied. We will not be conquered. We will be a free and proud nation once again. Everyone will prosper. Every family will thrive. And every day will be filled with opportunity and hope. And the American dream is going to come back. But for that to happen, we must defeat Kamala Harris and stop her radical left agenda with a landslide that is too big to rig. Early voting is underway, and everyone get out of here and start voting. After all we have been through together, we stand on the verge of the 4 greatest years in the history of our country. There will be great years. With your help, from now until Election Day, we will redeem America's promise. We will put America first, and we will take back the nation that we love. We are one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. We will never give in. We will never give up. We will never back down, and we will never, ever surrender. Together, we will fight, 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 and we will win, win, win. November 5th will be the most important day in the history of our country. And together we will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America healthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. God bless you, Nevada. God bless you. God bless you all.